since the Arnold's UK, it's been a week and a half. He doesn't remain on plan.
I'm not gonna be able to be on stage at 2:43, but if I can be stage weight or show day morning 2:35, 2:36, that'll be a very substantial change from show to show.
Not gonna happen, Sam. And so what he's saying is not actually true. It's incorrect. Coach Greg, in today's video, Sam Sulek is behind. In case you didn't know, Sam Sulek, he carved up on 10,000 calories for the Arnold competition. And following the competition, of course, as everyone does, he had a few treats. He had a few extra calories. But no worry, this is Sam. He said he was going to do 45 minutes of cardio 2 times daily to prepare himself for the next Arnold's in the UK. Now, he then takes a flight to none other than where Coach Greg lives, good old Canada. While in Canada to meet up with Gymshark to take some photos, videos, and so on, he doesn't remain on plan. He's at the airport, he's on flights, he's feeling a little bit watery. As you know, traveling on flights can cause edema, which is pooling of water in the legs, your swollen ankles, and so on. And they're offering you all the treats that you shouldn't be eating. And so Sam, he has a few of these treats, a few of these extra calories, but he says, hey, not to worry. Fast forward a few days, he's now back in the United States, and he admits in this video that he is behind.
Yeah, so 10 days out from the Arnold UK, if I completely thrashed my legs today, like if I said 5 sets of leg press, 5 sets of Smith machine squats, all to failure, leg extensions, you know, maybe I overdid my volume a bit as well. My legs could be residually swollen going forward, even onto show day, and then whatever kind of cuts and grains I may have are going to be kind of washed out, you know, and just sort of puffy.
And so Sam is coping. So what we see right here is he says today is his last day for training legs. The show is in 10 days. He says if he really put in the work, 5 sets of squats, 5 sets of leg press, perhaps doing everything to failure and so on, that he might still have swollen legs in 10 days. That is not true. You are not going to maintain swollen quads 10 days after having a hard leg workout. If that were true, everyone would have to stop training legs far, far too soon. And so if you don't train your legs for said length of time, what happens is from one show to the next, you downsize. Guys, the only way to maintain your leg size, chest, biceps, all of it is to keep training. If you just pull back on the reins, train at 25% intensity, reduce the volume, and take 9 days off of the gym, not training your quads, what do you expect them to do? They eventually become smaller. We know he's already been lightening the loads. Prior to his previous competition, he would have perhaps been training at 50 or perhaps at most 75%. You can't go out there and train harder than last time when you're at sub 5% body fat, eating only 2,000 to 2,500 calories a day while doing 1 or 2 hours of cardio. It's just not possible. And so you reduce the training, reduce the load, which does in fact make sense. But when you then have another competition 3 weeks later, that holding back, that pulling in the reins, that reduced volume, the reduced intensity, it can show up on stage. Remember, this is coupled with being in a dramatic calorie deficit. He already stated he was going to lower his calories from 2,500 to even lower than that, approaching 2,000. And on top of that, he's training in the gym with weights and 2 cardio sessions each and every day. How are you going to build muscle? How are you going to show up at the Arnold's UK with more muscle, more size, more fullness if you're in fact reducing the training? I mean, does that make sense? Like if you had to think about it and you wanted to get bigger and have more muscle, would it make sense to do less? Hey, I really want to lock in. I really want to get more size. I'm going to train half-ass from now until I want to peak. It's probably not going to work.
Some might see that as an excuse of, oh, I get to chill out on my leg training for a little while, which is kind of true.
And so he says, hey, some are going to say it's cope. It's an excuse to not train legs for a little while. That is exactly what it is. I'm agreeing with his statement.
Is I can go back in time and see what I looked like 6 months ago doing like a fully bulked leg day or a fully bulked chest day. They're on the horizon. You know, I can see the sun just begin, you know, it hasn't breached the ocean yet, but it's right over there.
He's already got in his mind, I cannot wait to bulk. He's had enough. I can tell. Remember, I was once a competitive bodybuilder, 59 competitions, and I've done competitions where you have one and then another. Now, Sam, he's not going to just back out of the competition. He has his promises, he has his fans, and so he can't just say, you know, I've had enough. I did the Arnolds, I got 8th place. It's enough. I don't think that he actually wants to compete at this point, but I do think that he doesn't want to disappoint his fans. He's hungrier than last time. Literally, he wants to eat more food. Of course, what he could be taking is GLP Max. Are you aware that we sell this GLP Max oral version? Reduce your appetite by 28%. An 8 out of 10 hunger to a 6. And so if you're struggling with your diet, you're having a hard time putting the fork down, code Greg, 15% off. And if you're unemployed, 20% off with code unemployed. And if this isn't strong enough, you can in fact go to AlgoRx. Doctors can prescribe you medications, for example, a GLP. Perhaps you need enclomiphene, testosterone, aka HRT, or perhaps peptides, you know, the legal ones, pharmaceutical, not for research use only. And so if you want actual doctors to prescribe you legal medications and not break any laws and be guaranteed of the authenticity of it, click the link in the description, AlgoRx code Greg, 10% off.
I'm going to burn through all my carbs first. And only once I'm at a certain level of like flatness is my body then going to say, all right, shit, not so many carbs to run off of. Let's start oxidizing some fats and, you know, whatever the correct term is for, you know, cleaving off the chains of carbons or whatever to release the energy that's stored inside them, you know. So if you have one crazy cheat day and fuck man, you say, you know what, I don't care, I'm eating 3 pounds of gummy bears today, we're doing it. You're not instantly screwed. You're gonna wake up the next day fully carbed up. So all your glycogen stores are full. I mean, that's basically what I did for the Arnold, or the Arnold UK, and I'm gonna do for the Arnold, or the Arnold Columbus, and I'm gonna do for the Arnold UK, is fill up all my glycogen with sugar by, or not sugar, but carbs in general, by basically carb loading, right? So that's gonna put my glycogen stores way up here. I'm not burning any body fat when my glycogen stores are completely full because that's really quickly available energy. So that's kind of how I would, or at least how I wrap my head around the importance of the consistency of a diet, is I've got to be steadily in a deficit so that I'm also steadily basically depleted and low on carbs so that I have to use my body fat for energy rather than those internal glycogen stores.
And so what he's saying is not actually true. It's incorrect. Now, remember, Sam is what, 23 years of age, perhaps he's 24, but what he's describing is a kind of watered down attempt to describe how his body is burning body fat as well as carbs in the form of glycogen. And it's not correct. And so what he's saying is that he had a massive cheat day, 10,000 calories. Essentially, that's what he did. He did a show, but he consumed so much calories that his glycogen levels were topped off. He's stating, following that, I can't really burn any body fat, and the reason for that is because my body prefers to use glycogen over the fat that I have. He's saying this. He said this. I'm not making this shit up. Remember, I'm not trying to speak bad of Sam. I'm simply trying to give you correct information. Since the Arnold's UK, it's been a week and a half. He's stating, I'm increasing my cardio to 1 hour of cardio twice a day. That's 2 hours. That's more than I do. And I'm a competitive cyclist. Guys, I race bikes. I'm going to race this afternoon. The other day, I rode 104 kilometers. He's doing more cardio than me. If he hasn't burnt off those extra carbs, you know, the extra calories he had on his cheat, perhaps he had 8,000 calories above his baseline. I'm exaggerating. He didn't eat 8,000 calories more than his BMR in a day, but perhaps he added even more calories that we're not aware of. Perhaps the day after the show, he had another 10,000 calories. You know, Sam doesn't need to say every single thing that he does. He doesn't have to say what he watches on TV or what he chooses to eat. He gives us as much information as he feels like. And so I believe he consumed way more calories than he's leading on. The fact that he went to Canada, he perhaps had some maple syrup on his anabolic French toast. Remember, you can get this amazing cookbook, version 3.1, better cookbook than last time. And it has amazing recipes. And in Canada, we have the beaver tails, famous for our maple syrup. And so perhaps he slapped on the maple syrup. Just give me a second. And so what he doesn't realize is Coach Greg has 40 cases, not 40 bottles, of sugar-free Mrs. Buttersworth. And so it's possible he picked up the wrong bottles. These ones say no sugar added, but if you had sugar added, imagine the calorie difference. One of these bottles with calories from maple syrup is going to have thousands of calories, and so perhaps he enjoyed some good old maple syrup from Canada versus having the sugar-free version. Because Sam's glycogens are so topped off, he's having a difficult time getting his body fat down, but he's stating you have to deplete your glycogen stores down to almost nothing to flatten out, if you will, before he starts burning body fat. But this is actually what happens. Even if you drink an entire bottle of maple syrup, the high sugar kind, let's call it 2,000 calories, glug. You drink it down, you get on a bike and you do zone 2 cardio. Keep zone 2 cardio, for example. Let's say you go for 2 straight hours and you're fit. I'm talking Coach Greg fit, or perhaps even a little more. And you burn off 2,000 calories. All 2,000 calories is not going to come from the sugar that you're eating. It's not possible. When you're in zone 2, some people like to call it a fat burning zone. And so the more fit that you are, the more your body relies on burning fat. The less fit that you are, those of you watching this right now, your body burns off more carbs. Now, does Sam do lots of cardio or none? What is Sam known for? Promoting daily cardio. Off season, on season, Sam is doing cardio daily. He's famous for this, and I thank him for it. Great message, continue to do cardio. One of the benefits of this is when it comes down to dieting for competition or trying to get shredded, your body already burns more fat than carbs. And so for those elite athletes, they're going to be burning about 70% fat and only 30% carbs. And so 1,400 calories of fat is being burned, only 600 calories of carbs. Those of you who are out of shape, it's going to be the reverse. And so the more in shape you are, like Coach Greg doing cardio all the time, when I ride bikes, same as Sam Sulek, when he's riding bikes, he's burning at least 50% of those calories as fat and 50% as carbs. And so even if he isn't flattening out, even if he's eating too many carbs, his body is still burning body fat while doing that cardio. It's a fact. And so he doesn't technically need to burn off all of his carbs and be in ketosis in order to burn fat. I just wanted to make that clear. And so don't think that, for example, you need to do empty stomach cardio. That is why people think they need to do empty stomach cardio. They're thinking, well, if I wake up in the morning and I haven't eaten for 12 hours and there's nothing in my stomach, when I'm doing my cardio, I'm going to burn fat instead of carbs. Even if you eat breakfast, even if you eat carbs, especially if you're fit and you do cardio every day, you are burning fat every single time. And at the end of the day, calories in, calories out. I don't care what you've been doing. If you eat more calories than you burn off, you are storing body fat. And if you eat less than you're consuming, you're losing weight. And so when Sam ate 10,000 calories, some of that, it spilled over. I previously recorded a video. I explained this. I said, hey, that was too much. You're spilling over. Some of those extra calories are in fact turning to body fat. He says, oh, don't worry about it. If you had 3 pounds of gummy bears, you're just loading up on your glycogen. No, you're not. Your glycogen cannot store that many carbs. And so a lot of that is in fact in excess and it's turning to body fat. So you're then storing that body fat. And the next day when you do your cardio for, let's say, 4 hours, you're burning the extra body fat that your body has already converted. Do you get it now? Does that make sense? And so what Sam has been doing for the last week and a half is consuming too many calories. There's no way, none whatsoever, that if Sam had a proper coach, he had a proper tan, but with a proper coach and following said diet, he wouldn't have to do an hour of cardio twice a day, a week and a half after the Arnolds. It would already have been burnt off. Remember, I said it can take a few days, perhaps 3 days to a week. Following the competition, within 3 days to a week, you're back to square one. But since he's 10 days out and he's behind, that tells me that Sam Doucette, that tells me that Sam Sulek has been cheating on his diet harder than last time. And what is the proof? The fact that he had to up his cardio. You don't up your cardio a week and a half after show when you're already paled to 1 hour twice a day. How many people need 2 hours of cardio a day to get in shape? Following a competition when they're already in shape.
Things are going to look a lot different once my daily carb intake goes from 200 to 800.
And so you can see how excited he is. He's seeing the sunlight in the distance. The sun, it hasn't breached the horizon, but the different colors have started, and so he's feeling it. He's saying, I can't wait to go from eating 200 grams of carbs a day to 800. Imagine the difference. That's 600 extra grams of carbs. That's 2,400 calories. And on top of that, reducing his cardio from 2 hours to 30 minutes. And so essentially, that's going to equate to perhaps being 3,500 calories in surplus in versus right now. Right now, he's in a severe deficit, a crash diet, if you will, but in comparison, he'll be eating more calories and doing less cardio than last time, and most certainly putting on 25 pounds within a week.
Oof. Holy shit. Oh my gosh. I guess I just kind of got used to like watery looking Sam.
This is looking good. He's so impressed that he takes photos with his phone. And so those 2 hours of cardio a day combined with eating close to only 2,000 calories, clearly they're paying off. Now listen, many people say you can't out-train a bad diet. Are you watching it? He had 10,000 calories in a single day. He flew to Canada. He's eating airplane food. And what did he do? He added in 2 hours of cardio. Now, let's say he went crazy, had 5,000 calorie cheats every other day, and he continued to do more cardio. You don't think he could burn it off? You don't think that my cycling team, there's guys that can eat, for example, 8 to 10,000 calories each and every day and burn all of those off? They are literally pouring sugar into their drinks. They don't drink plain water. Why would I waste time drinking water when I can have sugar? They are struggling to keep weight on because they're doing so much cardio. And so when you think you can't out-train a bad diet, you absolutely can.
Side of quad veins.
And so if I'm coaching Sam and we're 10 days out and just standing without flexing, he has side of the leg veins that he strided so much so that it's making him giddy, I'm going to say, Sam, you're ready. You reduce your cardio to one session of 45 minutes, not two of an hour each, because all that's going to do is your body is now going to be burning some of that protein, some of that muscle for energy. You can't diet to infinity. You can't continue to get leaner. Eventually, your body just uses muscle for energy. Listen, you need the amino acids. If you don't have enough calories, you're eating 2,000 calories a day and doing 2 hours of cardio, the body's thinking, well, we need our heart to work and we need our brain to work. We don't need biceps. We can do without. And so it's going to take some of the amino acids from your biceps, convert them to energy, into calories, in order to fuel said workout. And so if he continues to do this indefinitely, for example, if Sam continued to diet, did 2 hours of cardio a day, eating 2,000 calories, eventually the 230 pounds of muscle on stage would be 130 pounds of muscle on stage. You cannot do this forever. Yes, it's only going to be 10 more days. He's not going to lose 100 pounds of muscle, but it's still 10 days of slowly losing muscle.
I'm not going to be able to be on stage at 243, but if I can be stage weight or show day morning 235, 236, that'll be a very substantial change from show to show.
Not going to happen, Sam. For the last show, he weighed in at 227, and he was perhaps 230, maybe 232. He wants to be 235 or 236. You can't weigh in at 227 pounds and expect to gain 8 pounds of muscle the next day. Now, many people are critical of me saying that I gained 4 pounds of muscle on Turk Builder Max in a month. Guys, if your body fat percentage is the same, and you look 4 pounds bigger, and all of it is inside the muscles. You never gained 1 ounce of fat whatsoever, and it's intracellular inside the muscle, then what is it?
Definitely could tell over this past week of post-show rebound combined with a little bit of international travel. Cardio is to be maintained.
And so the combination of those extra calories carving up for the first competition with international travel, it's caused him to look a little bit off. That's why he increased his cardio. Interested in coaching plans by me and my team, or if you want to be a sponsored athlete with HDLT supplements, or if you want to carry our supplements in your stores and our gyms, click the links and apply, subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algorithm. Hopefully you learned something in this video and you can apply it in your own life. Watch one of those 2 bloops. We've got the cookbooks, and perhaps I should sell some of theyese 20 cases of Miss Butterworth syrup that I paid about $10 each because of the shipping. But hey, I digress. Gress mentioned yet again. And until next time, I am out.